Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to WCS America broadcast. Of course, Axel Toss and Axe Live here. We were given permission to actually cover the tournament, which is awesome.
Right.
Huge shout out to the NASL guys for letting us jump on and do this. Of course, it's kind of a multifaceted broadcast. Sorry to use fancy words. Nick has actually been playing in the tournament. He's going to get top 4, and he's going to qualify for WCS Season 3. Sorry for the spoilers. So we're watching his run as he plays them. Right now, we are currently drinking some water, and we're waiting for his next match, which is going to be against, we're theorizing...
Probably Tassadar.
Probably Tassadar.
You know, Tassadar played another very good Korean from Clarity Gaming in like round 128, which is kind of crazy. He played against...
who was it? It's someone good, probably, obviously.
It was against Motok.
Whoa, he
whoever
2-0'd him, too.
Back when I used to play this game, I ran to him a lot, like the GM ladder. He was like one of those guys who plays in Europe. And all like the play-ins and stuff, he would win a bunch of those. I mean, not as many as like Keanu or like the guys who actually would win all of them. But
sure.
He was like a regular, and he'd win a decent number. So Tassadar took him out 2-0. Tassadar is awaiting the winner of Schnitzel and J to the Law.
Schnitzel. Oh, that's so fun to say.
Yep.
Can we cast Schnitzel? I hope Schnitzel beats Tassadar, so Schnitzel can play Axlav.
That would be awesome. I hope Schnitzel beats Tassadar too, but honestly, Tassadar's got the Korean flag back in him. It's hard to bet against him, so I'll probably end up against Tassadar next. But as you said
We're
before,
not even going to think about it, though, because it's already done.
I mean, the thing is, I have to be Tassadar, because when Will put him on his GSTL fantasy team, he let Will down. And like we can't let people let Will down like that.
Because he made it personal.
Yeah.
Will is our friend. That's about it, though. He's our friend.
They made me.
And he made this.
Host for some reason.
He invested his emotional spirit into Tassadar, and Tassadar let him down.
Exactly.
And we're not just going to let Will's emotional spirit just run away. We have to amend that phenomenon. And Nick has already done it, first of all, because I can see the future.
You know, it is the PvP. Tassadar is, of course, the top Protoss on Team Neo Hosio.
Dude, you're like the best at PvP.
It's my best match, so I think I've got a decent shot.
It's your fifth day.
Yep.
Is that what they call it? Your fifth day?
Yeah.
No, that's not right.
No, it's Forte.
Oh, Forte. Got it.
Okay, so Trace, of course, the dude from California who just took Game 1 in what some will call an upset against the Grandmaster from New Jersey, Carnage. He says, 1 minute, sorry, I have something to deal with. So hold on, we'll get the game coming to you guys very shortly. It's going to be Trace from California against Carnage, a Grandmaster player from Jersey.
Shout out to Anton.
Yep.
Ferraro, by the way.
He's also from Jersey.
The chat is reacting to this wonderful creation in front of us. We do have a slight stream delay, so we are 5 minutes in the future officially. So I'm gonna do some shout outs in the stream.
Actually, be 5 minutes in the past.
Yes.
Like when they see us.
Right. But right now we're 5 minutes in their future.
Yes, you're right. Right.
So I think unless you're in a different time zone, then you can plus or minus an hour. But I'm not going to do that math for you guys. Unless you you know what? Where are you guys from? Tell us where you're from. I want to know where you guys are from. Where are we? Where are we from? Are we from the USA? Are we from what other countries exist?
What countries exist? There's Canada.
Canada, right up there. The one below us. It's
also Mexico.
Yes.
It's Panama. There's Guatemala.
Right.
There's Peru. Argentina.
Washington, D.C.
El Salvador. California. Texas.
Alaska.
All these great countries in the world.
I was going to give shout-outs.
It took me a minute to catch on to where we were going there. I'm sorry.
I said I was going to give shout-outs, so I want to fulfill that obligation while we get into the game. It'll be very quickly. I just appreciate all you guys for
tuning in. Do your shout-outs, man.
On it. Damas, Snybro, Narusku fan, Nominal Key, getting bored, hopefully not. Dyslexic Zergling, that's unfortunate. I'm not
anyway, man.
That word sounds dirty to me. Yiplag, Unit 83, Ron, how you doing, man? Pride 010, Mevin Proland, Bombjin, Punch My Ghost Barber, Krill, LOLOL, Dark King 665, Jim Sock, Yeti, Dark King, I said your name again, that's awesome. X Sifu, Geoff 877, no, it's Jeff 677, Just Insane, cleverly done, I appreciate the cleverness. Transastand, Apu, Unit 83, Macmaker, Scucio, Skeletor, and Dross. That sounds like a Hearthstone card. Awesome.
It does.
Apu? App what? Arg my liver. I'm glad you're sticking around, man. Your name is awesome, and I'll never forget it. Gray Lotus, Z-Tickman, Carataradon. Dude, some of the most fascinating names in my life I've read in a Twitch chat. I'm not going to lie.
All right.
Go ahead.
You know what that?
Yes.
Let me introduce the players
I'm
here.
never done with the chat. But
in the bottom left-hand corner of Derelict Watcher.
Yep.
The pink Protoss hailing from Whittier, California. We have IHCC Trace.
Without a trace.
I like that. That was good. That's all.
Do the next one. I got to get on quick.
In the top right-hand location, the purple Zerg. Hailing from New Jersey, we have Carnage.
Total carnage.
That was good too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks for your approval, Nick.
Yeah.
I really like when you
know what?
approve things I do.
I think we should apply
We should
to
do
be
it
like
again. We should do it again. That's what we should do.
No.
Okay, you're right.
People can we can put that on
Thankfully,
YouTube or
thankfully
something.
we have more games
Yes.
after this one.
Yes.
In fact, I think we're going pretty late tonight.
Oh yeah. So this is a round of 64 match. That means after this they've got to do round 32, round of 16, round of 8.
That's the order. Yes. Yep. Because every time you win, you advance to the next round, and it's one less.
Powers of 2, man. Powers of 2.
Because because someone has to be eliminated each round. So it's in a general tournament standard single elimination format. It goes in that sequential pattern where it goes from 64 to 2 in whatever fashion you just said. Yeah. So we got a PVZ on Derelict Watcher. In all seriousness, this map PVZ, as a Protoss, like I
always veto this map.
Yeah. So the main issue as Protoss in this map, at least I found, is like the third base. I mean, it's fine to put a Nexus there. That's great. But the issue is going to be keeping that Nexus alive or dealing with that stuff, which is a big old concave that the Zerg can get or the Terran can get. The big open space that Protoss doesn't
Roaches, Hydras in this area are like look at this. There's absolutely no obstructions.
Because the way Protoss works, you're kind of relying on force fields, actually throughout the entire game, especially on Derelict Watcher. So it's one of those things where, as a Protoss, you want the choke point, so you can put down those force fields, and it's exponentially more difficult as the space moves out, because that's more force fields you have to put down to kind of split up your enemy. So, what kind of strategies do you expect to see from Trace here to kind of counter that when that if that makes sense?
So there's a couple of possibilities. One is you just play really aggressive, because what's actually the distance between a natural and third is what makes it hard for Protoss to take a third base and play a macro game. But when I played on this map in round 1, because I forgot I was in the pool and forgot to veto it, you missed that. It was against Cran. One thing you can do as a Protoss is it does actually, the distance can hurt Zerg as well. Spreading creep between these two bases is a pain. So you do something like a Phoenix opening into 4-gate Zealot, which you see a lot of pro Koreans do that build on pretty much every map, right? This is a great map for that because you can park, when you open Phoenixes, they make Spore Cores, right? They'll put like one here and they'll put one in a natural. What they won't do is they typically won't be able to have one out here. Maybe eventually Zergs will learn and they'll try to spread creep and get one out there, but in the meantime they won't. You park your Mothership Core on like 4 or 5 Phoenixes in this area. And then you send, then meanwhile behind that you're warping in 8 to 12 Zealots, maybe 9 Zealots, and you send those Zealots sneaking into their third base. And then all of a sudden, any Roaches or Queens they want to send to reinforce, you got your Mothership Core and your Phoenixes there can intercept and really make that Zealot attack do a lot more damage. So you can kind of use that space that is really bad for you against like a Roach Hydra push or like 11-minute Roach Max or those type of things into your favor by playing aggressively. Now, we don't see that happening quite yet. It does look like Trace maybe he went very fast Robo right after Psycore, so he may see something like a 2-base Immortal timing. Could definitely be a possibility. Or could this be Robo to third base? Now, given the fact he's adding more gateways,
he doesn't have any gases at his natural either.
Yeah, it's probably either War Prism or Immortal type timing. Immortal time is normally you get a third gas.
Observer first, that's fine. So less likely to be,
Observer first actually confuses me.
It does me too. So I think he's gonna follow this up the War Prism.
I think he just wants to get Observer first to be safe.
I think that's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's a War Prism semi all-in. He wants to try to sneak his way in.
No +1 with this.
No, I guess he really just
like if you mass Zealots, do +1 with the War Prism, get enough gas for once, or take your sentries with you, block the ramp type thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, getting to Robo before +1 is fine if you really want to get that going, but you could get them both if your build is a little more optimized. So that's just a slight error. But really, it's not, in this type of build, it's actually not the biggest difference, because what this build comes down to, can the Observer find a path which the Warp Prism can take and get into the Zerg's main without them noticing? Because if you get into main, you start force fielding their ramp.
Yep.
Your main's dead.
Things become scary because it's a situation where you're trying to save. You're trying to save your friends in the main, but there's an annoying circle of energy that's keeping you from getting into your main to reunite with your loved ones and save them. So that could happen.
It all comes down to if Zerg
and there's the +1. See, that baffles me.
Yep. It's a little bit de-optimized. If Zerg can find his Warp Prism and just get his units right underneath it.
I like how you phrase that. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Oh, actually, see, this is what happens. If the Zerg knows you're doing this, it doesn't work. It already failed. This build was all the rage like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then Zergs learned to scout and pay attention.
The Zergs learned to scout.
And the build just kind of like.
I don't think Idra would agree with that statement.
I mean, that's the biggest reason is they just got there's a lot of things like Terrans used to do these mass Marine Marauder stimulants, and then Protoss has learned to use force field better, right?
Right.
There's like people have gotten better at the game, and there's certain builds that if you have a skill set, that build doesn't work anymore. And you still see those builds at certain levels, or you still see them like in this case. This is a very high level game, right? I mean, it's great Grandmaster level, right? And you still pop out this build because they're like, it's a tournament setting. They're going to be nervous, and no one's seen this build at the top level for quite a long time. So that makes the odds of it working much higher than, like, in theory it doesn't work, right?
Right.
But if you watch guys like Huck play, he does all kinds of builds like that in theory don't work, but because people aren't ready for them, they're nervous.
The element of surprise is incredibly important. Now, seeing how Trace did this and it didn't work, where do you consider him state-wise? Obviously, we can kind of already say he's going to be behind.
Yes, absolutely.
My first question is, where does he go from here?
So,
and yeah, go ahead.
The instant reaction typically when you do a build like this and it doesn't work, where do you go is third base instantly, right?
On this map, though.
But yeah, exactly. This map, when you already know your opponent's going to roaches, this third base is going to be so hard to defend.
Gosh. What would you prefer he did after that fails?
Well, I think he's doing it. I think the third base is a fake. Oh, and he's building 2 more probes. I like to see him not build probes and just build the third base as a fake and do like a Immortal / Colossi, like a 2 Immortal, 2 Colossi, Mass Sentry, Mass Gateway, 2 base all in.
Sure.
And you just sack this third, right? The third's there to fool the Zerg and hope they overtech. Which I think it kind of is. Like, okay, this is actually fine. So I'm at 53 probes. He's totally fine here. And I don't mind this. He's going to try to be a little bit cost efficient. And as long as Zerg stays on roach speeding, it doesn't matter that the economy of the Zerg is a little better. Because the Zerg, let's say right now, has like, 30% more economy, right? But that just means that Trace has to be 30% more cost efficient in engagements. Which he can absolutely do as long as he has sentries, immortals, maybe a Colossus, and his opponent only has roaches and speedings. Now, the Twilight Counts I'm a little worried about. That's the extra tech that's going to take too long to kick in. So I would rather see that be a Colossus in production. But overall, I guess he actually is just wanting to play a macro game for me, which is, I think, kind of silly. I mean, the Zerg, once they max out, they don't attack, they're going to start teching, right? Like, they're going to get bored, right? They're like, I have extra resources, I'm going to throw down a Spire, I'll throw down a 4th base, I'll throw down... Yeah, exactly. They're going to start, exactly like what's happening here, they're going to start teching. So, that's why I would prefer a 2-base all-in over trying to set up his 3rd base, which is exactly, looks like what he's going for. This attack is pretty cool. These Zealots attacking the 4th base of Carnage, that could slow him down a bit, but the problem, the 4th base is an asset to Carnage, but it's not the real problem for Trace. The problem is going to be the Stormhost.
Sure.
I mean, he is going to have a Colossus, maybe a couple Colossi out, but if Carnage can find a decent way to trade his roaches, he's going to be golden. Now that's the tricky part, though. He has to find a way to trade these roaches off without just totally sacrificing.
Because it's one of those things. I mean, I feel
Carnage might be playing too passive here.
Yeah, like the thing with roaches, and this can kind of apply to most matchups, especially against, like, I would think against Terran. Like,
oh yeah, in every matchup. Even.
Right, like it's the state of the unit. It's the tier. Like it's a low tier unit, so you want to get rid of it. You want to trade that supply.
It's not a Marine.
Right.
It's a low tier
well
non-Marine
played. Well played, Nick. It's not a Marine. It's a roach. it can't be cost efficient as the game goes on, kind of a thing. So you kind of want to trade it away, get the better stuff out. Swarmhost might be, got to be careful with those guys.
They're good, but he can't get that many. It's a problem. So he needs to find a way to trade his roaches off a little
because he's
earlier.
maxed. Like everyone would say, oh, he's maxed, great. But the problem is, if the Protoss can get those beefy, expensive units out, they can be really cost efficient and then push across the map before you can really remax efficiently.
The force fields could have been a little better. Now this is a very hard spot, the force field. I mean, I wouldn't have force field better than my force fields. But look how Carnage did this. He said it. Okay, I was actually I really admired what he did, then I hated it. Because it looked like he was going to send 10 roaches up to the third base.
That was a quick flip-flop.
Yeah, well, there was 10 roaches that went up this way, and I was like, oh, he's going to send 10 roaches up here.
Yeah.
Let's army back, and what does the Protoss do? If they go up here, the rest of the army...
So the basic idea being, like, straight up in an engagement, the roaches aren't going to be that good.
Exactly.
You want to split them up, really take advantage of their mobility, kill probes, trade those roaches for economy, get yourself that advantage as the game goes along. You're not going to win the game with this army.
No.
So you want to just trade that away, think about, as the game goes along, where you want to be.
I mean, we're talking about things that are going poorly for Carnage, but he still is ahead in this game.
Yeah, sure.
He still is ahead.
Like, so it's us being nitpicky, but we're casters, so we can do that.
Exactly. That's what we do. We nitpick people who are playing better than we do.
Yes. Well, Nick's going to win this whole thing. Hold on. The Stalker's trying to get
up
close
to
the
this is a cool roach flank.
Wow.
But there's an observer. Ooh. And Locust come out. That's so much damage up on the Protoss army, man.
Trace is playing this.
I actually like the methodology, but
I think there are good things from both players in that engagement. Like, the roach flank was great. The Swarm Host overextended there, and the Protoss taking advantage of the Swarm Host overextending was great, and then the Force Fields of the Protoss was fantastic as well. Yeah. Anytime you can kill a Swarm Host, it's like a huge fist pump moment. Because it's one of those units that not only does it feel awesome killing them, but they can be so annoying as they scale up. In fact, like, they can become unbeatable if the Zerg gets too many. So you want to kill as many as you can, and you want to take advantage, be cost efficient, because those things, they're called locusts, and they will make your day not so good, not so fun.
It actually is crazy. As they scale up, Swarm Hosts get better and better versus Colossi. Because Colossi aren't instant-firing units, so they don't have smart firing. So if you have, like, a whole bajillion Swarms, there's a whole bajillion Colossi, the Colossi will overkill a certain section of Locusts. And as time goes on, Swarm Hosts get better and better versus them. But in the short term, Colossi can be pretty darn good. And here we have the Roaches coming in here. Those are pretty darn good force fields, but I think there may just be too much from the Zerg here. There's no... there's some Warpins coming in with the War Prism, but there's no more force fields.
Oh.
Another wave of Locust comes out.
Oh, saves the Colossus.
Yeah, well, actually, that's a good blink. He's going to get away. But he's trading units against an opponent who has better economy.
Yeah. It's one of those things as Protoss, you want to keep those expensive units alive, and you can't really trade your whole army unless you're kind of winning, unless you're winning, which you wouldn't even lose your army. You want to, you want to keep those expensive units alive because they're expensive. You can't remake them as easy as a Zerg can. So
there's one thing going on here. Trace was very far behind after his opening build didn't work.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen people more behind him make a comeback, but he was pretty far behind, right? Anytime you're ever behind, you want to make a comeback, one of the best things to do is just either do something really risky, like a DT rush or something like that, or a storm drop, something crazy, or if you're going to play standard, play defensive. So I don't know if I like the attack out from him, because the longer the game goes on, the more time there is for your opponent to make a mistake and you to seize that moment and take advantage of that.
Okay.
Now, he's down by a lot of supply. There's a lot of Stormos coming in here. Trace could easily send his roaches at third base and end the game, pretty much. Is he going to do that?
Yeah, this is so tough. How does Trace, can Trace hold this off? What needs to happen for Trace to hold this off?
He needs to, avoid the Locust with the Stalkers somehow and, ambush. Okay, actually, this is pretty cool. Militia Corps is going to...
There you go.
But this is the problem, like I said. If Carnage sends roaches at third base, even if he kills the Swarmos, at 20 minutes in the game, you lose your third base. What's your economy at? Your main's kind of dry, man. Your natural's almost gone as well. So losing at third base is a game ender here. He's trying to get him to save it. That Nexus is going to fall, though. A nice yoink there.
Yeah, that was a great yoink.
What do you call them, a ducks?
No, it's a yoink.
It's a yoink?
Yep, from here on out. So there's the GG. Carnage takes game 2. Who won game 1?
That was Trace, so it's tied up 1-1 now.
Wow.
Jersey and California. Cross-national duel here. It's like a Civil War, but we're dividing it, along latitude, not longitude. Did I say that right?
Latitude is the straight longitude.
I get
longitude goes up, down. Latitude is because lateral.
All right, so we're dividing it by longitude, not latitude.
On different, like if you folded the United States in half, New Jersey would be on top of California, where he's from. So pretty epic match we have in our hands. We're tied 1-1 between Carnage and Trace. Guys, you're watching our coverage of WCS America, MajorLeagueGaming.com, YouTube.com/official MLGSC2. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I love the enthusiasm in the chat. You guys are awesome. I wanted to give a quick plug to the guys who are saying where they're from. It just passed by so fast, honestly. I couldn't really read them all, but we have people from all over tuning in, and that's awesome. I love to see that. I hope you guys continue to tune in. If you're bored and you're looking for StarCraft 2, literally MajorLeagueGaming.com, and then go to StarCraft 2, and there will be something on that's awesome, I promise. And if you don't like it, you get your money back. That's the best part.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get 100% of what you pay.
Exactly. But that being said, we do have to take a quick break. So, guys, stay tuned. We'll be back with the epic culmination of the match. That is Carnage versus Trace.